Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti al nostro webinar su FileWave, sulle nuove frontiere del device management. Oggi qui con me sono presenti John Scallan, che è il Director Sales di FileWave, e Andrea Gluck, che è il Software Engineer della soluzione, che in seguito, come potete vedere dall'agenda, terrà la demo sul prodotto. Io sono Vanessa Allodoli e sono la Pre-Sales di ICOS che si occuperà di farvi vedere il prodotto, lato commerciale, lato marketing, con una breve introduzione tecnica. Siete già un numero abbastanza soddisfacente di partecipanti, quindi iniziamo con la presentazione. FileWave è una soluzione che ha lo scopo di rendersi utile ed essere d'aiuto a tutto il personale IT all'interno dell'azienda, nel gestire tutti i dispositivi degli utenti in un unico posto, cioè tramite un'unica piattaforma. Alcune compagnie nella loro infrastruttura hanno già presenti dei software per la gestione degli endpoint, ma sono per lo più specifici in base al sistema operativo dei dispositivi stessi. Perciò avremo qualcosa per i Mac, qualcosa per i Windows, qualcosa per gli Android e via dicendo. Con FileWave non è così. Infatti una delle particolarità è proprio il cross-platform, ovvero l'unione della gestione di tutti questi sistemi operativi tramite una piattaforma unificata e di conseguenza meno dispersiva e più facile da monitorare. La soluzione offre inoltre la possibilità di effettuare azioni da remoto da parte degli amministratori IT. Quindi, in modalità simile a quello che ha un TeamViewer, è abilitata la connessione remota a tutti gli endpoint del perimetro. Questo consente al personale IT di effettuare interventi immediati, di velocizzare il supporto verso gli utenti e le tempistiche di troubleshooting. Perciò lo scopo finale del prodotto, cioè la vera utilità di questa soluzione, è quella di unificare svariati tool, tipo appunto, in un'unica soluzione. FileWave può essere tranquillamente definito come il coltellino svizzero del mondo IT, proprio per la vastità di azioni che consente di fare al suo interno. Infatti, tutto ciò che un amministratore IT farebbe in loco su un solo dispositivo, con FileWave può farlo da remoto su tutti i dispositivi. È un prodotto che si trova sul mercato da oltre 30 anni e che viene costantemente migliorato nel corso del tempo per rimanere al passo con lo sviluppo informatico. Insomma, per dirla in breve, FileWave è la soluzione più adatta al miglioramento dell'efficienza di un team IT, sia a livello di tempo, perché fa risparmiare un'infinità di ore lavoro che possono essere usate per altre task importanti, sia a livello di gestione, perché favorisce una visione d'insieme di tutta l'infrastruttura. Analisi di mercato. Questo è un altro punto su cui vorrei spendere due parole per tracciare la posizione di questo tipo di prodotto nel tempo. Il mercato globale delle soluzioni di endpoint management, come FileWave, è un mercato che sta scalando molto e come potete vedere in questa slide, gli analisti hanno stimato una crescita del tasso annuale composto del 40% in 10 anni. Questo perché? Con il lavoro ibrido che abbiamo ad oggi, in cui c'è gente che viaggia per lavoro, lavoro da casa, lavoro in altre sedi, eccetera, è stata introdotta molta complessità verso i dipartimenti IT, perché questi devono poter essere efficaci nella gestione di tutti questi utenti, ma anche perché i dispositivi introdotti saranno sempre di più e gli utenti non avranno, ma anzi non hanno già più, un unico dispositivo, bensì molteplici. Unified Endpoint Management è un po' quello che vi dicevo all'inizio. La copertura di FileWave riguarda tutta la parte Mac, Windows, Android, iOS, Apple TV e tra le Windows troviamo anche tutte le categorie di Windows Server, mentre per il momento la parte Linux non è ancora stata inserita. La sfida attuale per FileWave è riassunta in questi 4 pilastri. FileWave si propone infatti di consigliare il modo più corretto di distribuire gli hardware, come soddisfare le richieste di sicurezza in un'organizzazione IT completamente dismessa e come mantenere in piedi questa organizzazione stessa tramite il troubleshooting negli utenti che stanno avendo problemi a distanza. E questo non riguarda solo il supporto da remoto, ma anche l'installazione propria di tool e applicazioni già configurate nei dispositivi, con la possibilità poi di gestirle direttamente dalla console. Questo è tutto ciò che FileWave fa per efficientare e semplificare i compiti dei membri dell'IT. Il toolkit di FileWave offre una vastissima gamma di opzioni possibili. Con questa soluzione è possibile provvedere all'imaging con configurazione completa, così come è possibile avere un patch management efficace e una visibilità dei cicli di vita di hardware, software e sistemi operativi nella propria infrastruttura. È possibile anche fare i deployment di script, MSI, PKG e FileX. E la cosa importante è che FileWave non lavora a livello di pacchetti, ma lavora a livello di file, da cui appunto il nome. Così che se nascesse il bisogno di modificare qualcosa in un'applicazione, non ci sarebbe il bisogno di reinviare l'intero pacchetto, bensì solo una nuova configurazione. Perciò ecco che il risparmio non è più solo nel tempo, ma anche nella larghezza data in questo caso. Lo strumento di imaging, unito a quello di deployment di software e applicazioni, si rivela essere molto utile, per esempio, per i nuovi assunti. Infatti, grazie a questi strumenti, non solo è semplice configurare i nuovi dispositivi, così da avere un inserimento e allineamento del personale velocissimo, ma è anche facile aggiornare, ovvero aggiungere qualcosa ai dispositivi già presenti. Altro strumento molto utile è il self-healing, ovvero un risparmio enorme in termini di tempo. Questo tool va ad autoriparare e sistemare tutte quelle configurazioni che per un motivo o per l'altro sono state cambiate rispetto all'originale. E in tutto ciò il processo avviene in modo automatico, perciò un utente per sbaglio cancella qualcosa dai registri, oppure viene cancellato un file di sistema, FileWave se ne accorge, identifica il danno e ripristina il tutto da solo. Altre info sul funzionamento della soluzione. La soluzione si compone principalmente di una macchina virtuale server CentOS, quindi basata su un server Linux, priva di GUI, e un installer admin MSI, che serve appunto come interfaccia grafica per il server e su cui possono essere eseguite tutte le azioni di cui vi ho parlato finora. In generale è una soluzione agentless, che va a rintracciare tutti gli endpoint tramite una scansione di rete e o tramite protocollo LDAP per Active Directory. Ma allo stesso tempo potete anche decidere di installare l'MSI relativo ai client su ogni endpoint. Altre funzionalità che riguardano l'esistenza di un booster e di un client monitor. I booster FileWave sono quegli strumenti che consentono di ridurre l'utilizzo della larghezza di banda nel deployment dei siti remoti e aiutano il server ad avere quindi meno connessioni. È consigliato averne all'incirca uno ogni 2000 endpoint, ma servono unicamente per dare meno peso al server da gestire. Mentre il client monitor non è altro che una piccola tab disponibile per gli admin che permette di valutare lo stato di connessione di un determinato client verso il server tramite l'inserimento del suo IP, visualizzare i log e inviare segnali al client per valutarne la ricezione. Passando agli use cases, mi piace suddividere questi use cases in due point of view, quello dell'utente e quello dell'amministratore, perché sono molto diversi tra di loro. Lato utente è un po' l'esempio che vi facevo prima parlando dei tool. A volte per configurare completamente un dispositivo per un nuovo assunto possono volerci anche dei giorni interi ed è molto spesso probabile che qualcosa venga dimenticato sul momento e installato quindi in seguito. Con FileWave questo rischio non può esistere. L'unica cosa di cui si dovrà occupare l'utente sarà quella di accendere il PC e tutto il download delle informazioni, delle configurazioni, dei profili, eccetera, verrà gestito interamente da FileWave. Dal punto di vista dell'admin, questa soluzione permette di gestire una vastissima gamma di dispositivi all'interno di un'unica dashboard, tutta custom, che viene erogata in due modalità differenti, ovvero sia dall'app dell'admin installata, sia come pagina web. Posso organizzare tutti questi dispositivi presenti in gruppi, o decisi da me, oppure in smart group, ovvero suddivisi automaticamente per sistema operativo, quindi tutti i Mac in un gruppo, tutti i Windows nell'altro. Ma non solo, posso anche aggiungere e raggruppare in automatico, per esempio, tutti i Windows 10, perché magari devo fare l'upgrade alla versione 11 e quindi in questo modo li ho tutti in un solo gruppo a cui posso inviare l'aggiornamento. Per ogni gruppo, inoltre, posso anche vedere qual è lo spazio di disco libero, insieme a molte altre informazioni, così da valutare, nel caso appunto di un update, se c'è effettivamente la memoria libera per installare le cose. Come dicevo prima, FileWave lavora a livello di file, quindi non è necessario fare il repackaging se si deve apportare una modifica a un'app o semplicemente se uno del personale ha cancellato per esempio la shortcut al desktop di un'applicazione. Mentre per nuove app da deployare è presente la comodità del drag and drop. che permette di prendere un'app, per esempio dal Play Store, e dropparla direttamente nel dispositivo o nel gruppo di dispositivi desiderati. Quindi nel complesso, dal punto di vista di un amministratore, ho la possibilità di fare dei management di massa dei dispositivi in modo facile ed efficace. I clienti ideali per questa soluzione sono tutti, a partire dalle piccole imprese, in cui il dipartimento IT è più contenuto e ha una grossa mole di lavoro, fino alle imprese più grandi, che hanno addirittura dipartimenti IT dislocati nelle varie sedi del mondo. La gestione degli endpoint è importante quindi sia per pochi admin che devono gestire qualche centinaio di dispositivi, sia per gruppi grandi di admin che devono rimanere allineati tra loro e suddividersi il lavoro senza pestarsi i piedi o sovrapporsi nelle cose. È quindi un mercato molto libero e flessibile per tutti. Questa slide è un po' un riassunto di tutto quello che vi ho detto finora, quindi la distribuzione nero su bianco dei punti di forza di FileWave, che sono appunto il cross-platform, la distribuzione del contenuto, la tecnologia di self-healing e la possibilità del drag and drop per le applicazioni. Perché scegliere FileWave? Perché un prodotto come questo rispetto ad un altro? Per tutti questi motivi che sono illustrati, che sono riassunto appunto di tutto ciò che abbiamo detto finora. L'efficienza è la prima cosa, riduce la complessità, è sia un cost saving che un time saving ed è molto scalabile e gode anche di una piena trasparenza, permettendo quindi una visione in profondità di tutte le specifiche dei vari dispositivi. A livello di clientela, questi è un po' la distribuzione dei clienti e dei paesi in cui FileWave è presente. Quindi come potete vedere sono anche presenti dei marchi molto importanti, quindi una soluzione molto solida anche da questo punto di vista. E infine il customer service. FileWave dispone di personale tecnico di supporto dislocato ovunque. Di conseguenza è molto semplice ottenere una risposta immediata in caso di problemi ed è attivo 24/5. E la cosa importante è proprio la facilità con cui è possibile parlare con questo personale tecnico, in modo da risolvere molto più rapidamente la problematica in questione rispetto a un classico scambio di mail, che può prolungarsi nel tempo prima di arrivare a risolvere efficacemente il problema. E con questo la parte di presentazione iniziale del prodotto si conclude, perciò io lascerò la parola ad Andreas. In caso di domande avete il question box al di sotto, le domande verranno risposte tutte quante negli ultimi 10 minuti di webinar. A questo punto passo la parola ad Andreas.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello and good day from my side. My name is Andreas. I'm a senior sales engineer at FileWave. Yeah, after this presentation by Vanessa, thank you for that. I will show you the product. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see it well. Vanessa, could you please tell me if you can see my screen? Awesome. Yes. Okay. So this is our native admin client, which we provide for macOS and for Windows. This is the tool the administrator will work with. So just download it from our website and connect to the FileWave server, and you will see this here. So what we see in the first place is our dashboard, which gives you, an administrator, gives you an overview of the health of your FileWave server, which is for managing your clients or the clients. So what you see here, primary services, we put in here a traffic light system, so you can have a very, very quick view if everything is all right, or in my case, something is wrong, I should fix this here. You see how is your server hardware doing, so do you have still enough disk space on your server to provide everything you need, what CPU and RAM usage is. You can also use this dashboard and set your alerts. So for example, yeah, you're a bit low staffed, so people are, left sick or on vacation. you do not have to have this in view all the time. You can simply set alerts for the most important reason when something is, well, not quite as it should be with your FileWave server. Excuse me, like for example, free disk space of your server. When you check this one, type in your email address on the subject and click on save. The system will automatically send you an alert when the disk space is below 10 gig, just for example. Right, let's go to the most important, the clients we want to manage. Our promise is managing all kind of clients, whatever it is, macOS, Windows, iOS, or Android devices, from a single console. And here we are. In this section, you see all kind of clients, and you can organize them here and manage them right from here. Several possibilities to organize them is one by just simple add groups and put the devices into groups, but you can also use our smart group technology, which helps you to pre-stage an environment, and then everything happens automatically as the administrator set it. So for example, you see the smart groups are the one with that little dot here. I pre-stage here something just by operating system. Let me do a double click on this one. Now this window will open and you can see what I did. I named it Windows and said all of the expressions must be true. I can choose between all and one. In my case, it doesn't make a difference. So when I choose here client or as platform equals Windows, I could be a bit more specific, just Windows 10, 11 or Windows servers. We also do support that one, but I just try to keep it simple. So what happened now is when a device fits the criteria of these smart groups, whether it's already there or it will join in the future, it doesn't matter. FileWave automatically creates what we call a clone, which is actually a link to the original entry of the device. So you can pre-stage it and say, okay, all devices which are already there or will join in the future should be part of this group. What you also can do here, when I say managing your devices, you can by doing a double click on a clone or the original entry, it doesn't matter. It's always a link to the original one. This window will open and you have a lot of device details. This is not everything. As well as I mentioned, we are more than 30 years in the market, so we are not, let's say, just an MDM tool. We come from traditional client management, though, which means regarding Windows and macOS devices, there is a real client running on the device. You can enroll them using the MDM framework, the MDM API, which is provided by Microsoft or Apple, but there's also a client software running on the device, sending constantly information about the device, about hardware and software usage and software installed. So you can see here, again, this is not everything, but let's say the most wanted. When I do click in file type status, I do see the software or scripts or whatever is installed when, how, and was it successful? Like this one's trying to download it, that was installed successful, and how did it get to the device? I see what kind of users were logged in and when. Let's switch to another one, which is a bit more interesting, like that Windows 10 machine. You see here, okay, the admin was logged in 4 times and this user was logged in 1 time. Software updates, you can see the missing one and are they critical or not. So you can act if necessary immediately. What else can I do from here? You might have noticed in the slides that there is remote support. We do have a complete TeamViewer integration, which means our remote support is not Windows and macOS only, it also works for iOS and Android. So let's say a user calls in support and says, I need some help. Okay, just do a right click on the device and open remote session. And on the device immediately, TeamViewer will start. TeamViewer will start here on the admin side, and you have the whole integration and everything TeamViewer provides to you to have the best user and admin experience you can get by using remote support. Next one we would like to have a look at is file sets. In this section, you will find anything you want or need to deploy to your devices. You can also create groups in here. I divided them by operating system, just to make sure I can explain everything by one. So regarding Windows, what do we support? MSIs, of course. You download an MSI, put it in here, you can provide it to the devices. We also do support exe files. For example, I do have here that Fortinet client. This is a VPN SSL client. I just did a double click on that file set and I open it up so you can see on the device in program data installers there will be this exe file. So with FileWave, using FileWave, as an administrator, I do not need to create an MSI out of an exe installer. I just can put it in here, click and get info, executable, and make it executable with launch arguments and environment variables when needed or when present. So it can just use exe files and deploy them. What else I can do is, and this is now why we are called FileWave and why we call this file set. So let's say you have to deploy, or your customers have to deploy exe files, and there are no switches for launch arguments, and it's very complicated. So it's a great piece of software, but it's not made for mass deployment. So what we can do with FileWave is a bit magic. An exe on MSI or on macOS PKG installer, they are closed packages. So what we can do, we can open up these packages and can leave them open. So we can deploy software on file level. And I show you that. I made that from the Fortinet installer. I created a file set, or we call a file set. So this is actually what happens on the device when you run the exe file directly on the device locally. So when this is what happens, so this is what we capture and we leave it as it is. So this gives us a lot of great possibilities. So the first one is we do not need any launch arguments because this can install silently in the background and nobody will see it. This can also be uninstalled silently. You do not have to deal with any scripting or launch arguments, whatever. It's file by file. So the next great thing about that is I always have fully control of each file being delivered to the device. Let's go with a simple example. I do want, well, during the installation, this is actually a desktop shortcut which has been installed during the installation. And let's say my clients call back, or my boss calls back and says, there's this kind of installation, there's this desktop shortcut, and people are quite confused and they do not want to see that. They don't know how to use it. Please remove it. So with traditional software deployment tools, you have to start repackaging and things again and to remove that. Within FileWave, it's so simple. You just choose the file you want to be removed from the device. You just click and delete, and on each installation this will be deleted immediately. Or let's go with a bit more complex example. This one is going to be so the configuration of this VPN client has been done in the registry. So let's say you've deployed that a couple of months ago, and then something changes at the firewall. You have to change the configuration. You do not have to, run kind of scripts and everything or redeploy something. You just put in a registry editor, and you can just, go in and say, okay, it's my Fortinet client, and I just change it in here, and only the change I made here will be deployed to the device. Another really great thing about using file set technology is it works also the other way around. What I just explained was from the admin to the client. It also works from the client to the admin. What do I mean by that? Let's take with that simple example of the desktop shortcut. Let's say it should be there and it's fine to be there so the user can easily access their VPN client. And let's say a user deletes that one by accident, okay? Because he can do this because it's his user desktop and he can just delete it, right? And he deletes it by accident, and normally he would call up support and say, okay, I do have a problem here. I can't find my VPN client anymore. Not on our watch, because our client running on the device will constantly contact. So in an interval, you can edit, but standard is 2 minutes. The client will contact the server and check is everything still all right. And if not, and in this case, user deleted the desktop shortcut, the client will recognize something's wrong and will automatically download the original file from the server and replace it. This is what we call self-healing. And this is for each file. Something goes wrong during the installation. No, this is just the cache. Let's go in here. Something's wrong with these files, corrupted, whatever. It will automatically repair itself. What else do we support? It was already mentioned is software updates for macOS, iOS, and of course Windows and Windows servers. So you can always patch your devices and see that everything is all right. We also do support scripting, of course. So everything the operating system understands and can deal with, you can deploy and run as a one-time script, or we also do support custom fields so they can run constantly with the inventory interval. And last but not least, we do support imaging. For Windows, we do have a complete imaging environment, which starts from capturing the image to the deployment. And we do support, you might notice it's a very small image. We do support bare metal imaging, which means this image is a vanilla Windows with just our client inside. We do not need to set up any kind of drivers. So this is one to rule them all. So you can deploy this to any kind of device. If drivers are needed, we do support driver injection. So keep your image clean and small and effective. Right. Mobile devices. So for mobile devices, you can click simply here, a new mobile device file set, and this window will appear. We just separate iOS and Android. Regarding configuration of iOS, we put in Apple's profile editor right in here. So you do not need additional software to configure your macOS, iOS, or TV devices. You just do it right from here. Okay. So like the email profile for macOS or iOS devices, you can pre-configure everything here, or let's say restrictions for iOS devices. You can do this right from here, anytime. Regarding Apple, we do support any kind of program like Apple Business Manager and Apple School Manager. So we're constantly connected to the Apple servers. So when somebody, let's say, purchase a VPP app like Microsoft Word for iOS, for example, or same for macOS, it will automatically synchronize here. You do not have to do actually anything. So I mentioned the profiles and of course the software updates. Regarding Android, you see it here. We put in here Android Play Store, and well, this is pretty much the same as we have the profile editor for iOS. You can create here your policies, like the password or compliance policy or device restrictions. You can configure right in here. So what is a device allowed to do and what not. I just put, really quick. I know Apple is not a big deal, but sometimes it is, and it is good to have it also covered. So when a client can say, yes, we have about, I don't know, 200 Windows devices, but they're also in the marketing department or in the design department. There are, I don't know, 5 to 6 macOS devices. And it's good to have them in here in the same console. So for the patch management, like the software updates, like the VPP applications, like the configuration profiles, like you can deploy, of course, PKGs, and the magic, you can deploy apps right away. I don't go today that deep in it, but it's just really cool. You can deploy it here from your application folder and drag and drop it over here, which is quite nice. But this is, yeah, for the Mac admins, and also any kind of scripts. Same with Windows, what the operating system can deal with, we can do. So we've seen our clients and we've seen our file sets, so now we have to bring them together in a manner that makes sense, so to match each other. So basically, who gets what when. We do have associations, for example, so which is the most simple way to deploy software. Let's say I just, downloaded the latest Firefox version and I put it in here as an MSI and I want to deploy it to my Windows devices. I want all my Windows devices to get this silently in the background, however. So that's why I created that smart group, to have all my Windows devices in one place. I do have my Firefox here, and now it's very, very simple step. I just, drag and drop it over here. And I choose revision, which is something for another webinar. I just create the association, and that's it. When I click that button and update model, each member of this group will receive it silently in the background. That's it. Quite simple, straightforward, very fast. If I do want to edit this association, it's also quite simple. I do a double click on it, and then I do have several options, like I can set a timing. I have timing options from, let's say, start the download, let's say tomorrow, but maybe I want to just activate it on Monday first, right? And I can delete file sets, of course. And I do have the possibility, as I just mentioned it, to create a kiosk association, which is great. And in this kiosk, the user, with his user privileges, is able and allowed to install and uninstall everything I provide as an administrator, like software, like documents, like scripts, whatever it is. I can just say, okay, now it's a kiosk association, and the user can install it on demand. And same with uninstallation. Vanessa, please help me. Am I still in time, or should I come
Yeah, sure,
to
you're
a
in
quick
time.
end? Okay, thank you. I do not have it here on my page. Okay, imaging. Imaging, as easy as deploying software. It's, I have my image, I have a group here. I can add a placeholder record, a single one, or a bunch of new devices. Let's say, excuse me. Let's say we purchased 10 new Windows laptops and I want to image them in the very first place. So I upload a text file with the MAC address and names, and then I just drag and drop it to the group or the device and start the devices in network boot, and the image will be deployed. Very simple, very straightforward. We also cover license management. What do we mean by that? It's not a license deployment feature, it's a license tracking feature. So as I mentioned, we do have a client running on the device, sending constantly, so every 24 hours after a reboot, the latest inventory information about hardware and software of the device to the database. And what we can do here is we can ask the database for software, for custom fields, for fonts. So regarding Apple's VPP, again, you do not have to do anything. You just, it's there and it counts. Regarding Windows or other applications which are not from Apple's VPP store, so you can track them by, you define what the database should be searched for, like the easiest way is directly from a file set. Okay, I already did that here with Firefox for Windows, so I will choose another file set here. You just click in here and choose a file set, like, I don't know, Firefox for Mac maybe. Let me go in here. Okay, Firefox for Mac. So right. Then I can put in here my purchase information. Let's say I have 10 purchased. I know it's a free license, but it's still licensed. And let's track it here. And here we go. And now it's going to be tracked. And I also can set a warning, like warn me when I only 4 left, for example. It doesn't matter because it's no installation right here. If I do not have a file set in place, I can define my own license. And again, it's a search for the database, and search based from application, front, or custom fields. Why do we support custom fields here? So for example, your customers, they use plugins for, let's say, InDesign, InCopy, whatever. And these plugins, sometimes they're really expensive, but they're neither an application or a font. So you define it as a custom field, and then you can search for custom fields for the application. I did this here with a very, very simple example, Visual C++. So what have I done? I said, okay, license name. This is just a friendly name, and I say application, and then I choose here from name contains Visual C++, and I can put in my purchase order. And this time I set one with when 8 are left, and then I see the result here. 4 of my devices have Visual C++ installed, and then warning license watermark, because when I have 10 4 installed, well, I'm quite below 8. And when I do a double click on this, I can also see which device has installed it. I hope, Vanessa, please give me feedback when I speak too fast. I hope I do not. Boosters.
Oh,
okay, thank you. Boosters. What are boosters for? Let me show you a picture. No, here we go. Open Keynote. Let me show you a picture first, because sometimes a picture says more than 1,000 words, I think the saying is. And here we go. That is the picture I would like to share with you. Well, let's say I do have my FileWave server running wherever. We provide it for on-premise installation. We provide it cloud-based. It's your freedom of choice. So that it's running somewhere and devices are connected. Let's say this is an on-premise installation, right, on site, and in an office, and clients are connected to it, admins working on it, and that's fine. And then, but the company has several destinations, for example, right? So we're here in Rome, and then we do have an office in Milan, for example, and we do not want each device connect via internet or whatever directly to the server in Rome and download it separately for each device. We don't want that because this is not efficient. So what we do, we put in a booster right in front here on location in the LAN of Milan, and the client will ask the booster, give me the software. So there's the information coming from the server to the client saying there's new software for you. And then the client will go automatically to the booster and say, give me that software. So the booster goes back to the server and says, okay, there's a client asking for software, please give me the software. And we'll download it and we'll deploy it here on location, which is way more efficient than having everybody, downloading gigabytes and gigabytes by using that. You can also use them as a load balancer, for example. What a lot of our customers do, they put these boosters in their DMZ or in a data center somewhere to, first of all, to catch all the devices not being out of office. So let's say the salespeople, running around for weeks, not coming into office for weeks because their job is at customer side, or people work home office, for example. So there's just an internet connection. So you can put these boosters into your DMZ, or in, as I said, just a data center somewhere on this planet, and so they're reachable via internet all the time. So when the device comes online, you got it, okay? So when you can reach them. And as I said, you can use them as a load balancer. You just put 2 or 3 or 5 of these boosters. So because you can manage these boosters and configure these boosters right from here. So for example, you say maximum connection or client download speed limit. So your DMZ or the internet connection, is not breaking down because of, I don't know, hundreds of devices connecting at the same time. It is possible, of course, you can also use them as a load balancer in the office. So if you have, let's say, 300 to 400 devices in the office, and you also do not want to have them connected all to the server at the same time, you can use them as a load balancer, and it works like that. Each device can have pre-configured up to 5 boosters. So it works like that when a device, let's say I have 50 maximum client connections, so and I'm the 51st, I will go to the next booster. So the client will ping constantly all its boosters, and the fastest will win the connection. So again, they are like boosters or like distribution points or like caching servers, and they can be used as load balancer inside or outside of your network. Inventory queries. I want to know what's going on my network. What kind of devices do I run here? And maybe other people in my company wants to know about, software usage, mainly expensive software, or just practically, I want to see what kind of hardware do I have around here, because there's, let's say, we want to switch from Windows 10 to Windows 11, let's say, and then I have to make sure the hardware that people use is it, does it fit the system requirements of Windows 11 or whatever software I want or need to deploy. So as I said before, we do have a client running on the device sending information. And if this information is not enough, so what we do have is more than 300 presets of inventory information. And if this is not enough, I already mentioned that we do support custom fields. So like battery power, we do not collect that, but you can run a script on the device through a custom field, which runs constantly and gives me the information about battery power, or what about BitLocker, or what about the display model connected to the device, whatever it is. A custom field could be a simple entry in the database, like purchase date, or it could be, as I mentioned, a script running together with the inventory interval on the device and sending back the information to the database. So again, so how does this work, and how does this can help? So again, let's say we want to switch to Windows 11. I need enough disk space on the device to deploy Windows 11 installer, for example, because I do not want to image them all. So let's just send the installer a file set. And I need enough disk space. Let's say 10 gig, is that fine? There should be at least 10 gig. Right, let's name it greater 10 gigabyte disk space. Let's find out who can handle that one. And I would search here for disk space, for example, and then I would see, oh, free disk space, that's nice. So I drag and drop it over here, and I say, okay, I'm looking for greater than, fine, 10 gigabyte, right? And then I see here immediately a result, which is not a good result because this is only my booster. Greater than 10 gigabytes, free disk space. Oh, this is wrong. I want all devices. Here we go. I have to remove that one. Oh, I'm here with boosters. Oh, that's the reason why. All right. Let me go with all devices, not only my boosters. Here we go. It's greater than 10 gigabyte. Okay, now I have all my devices. Here we go. Now I see all my devices. Well, this happens in real time because I just asked the database and it's there. Oh, I see here Macs, I see here my booster and an iPad. Now I want to switch on Windows 11. So let me separate them by operating system. Operating, here we go, OS type, because I want to install Windows. And here we go, and I see these two devices are able to install, to receive the installer and run it. I can edit these fields however I want. Let's remove also OS type, and let's say, because I want to know about the disk space, so let's go in here again and say, show me the free disk space. Maybe I want to also know the total disk space. So you get the idea how I'm able to configure these queries to see and to edit them, to have my inventory query and to have my report. So I check this box and now it's shown in here. And this is also an ongoing process. So if there's a device, getting more disk space, then it will show up here, right? And I also can directly create a smart group out of this query, which helps me to deploy software. I would ask me, well, put it in all clients, please. Here we go. And I have it here, and it's filled up with the 2 devices. So now I can use associations to deploy a file set. And this is, again, pre-staged, because when, let's say, this device will get more disk space, it will automatically drop in here and will receive the software. I hope this all makes sense. I would be ready for the Q&A, I think. I think we covered the most important, again, regarding the time. This is a very high-level overview. We also do provide a web console where you can manage the devices from a non-Windows or macOS based device. Oops, I should put in the correct password. But Vanessa, you can already have a look at the chat if there are any questions. While
yes, we
I'm
have
just,
questions.
Okay, shoot.
I think I can answer it, but then I will introduce to you so you can add the information if you want. Scusate, ero mutata. La risposta a questa domanda è sì, è possibile distribuire applicazioni in-house a tutti questi dispositivi iOS tramite modalità MDM. Adesso faccio aggiungere info da Andreas. So Andreas, they are asking us if about the iOS part, is it possible to distribute in-house application to the register iOS devices?
Yes, it is. So quite simple. You go into file search, click in new mobile file search, and then you have this one here, enterprise, where you can upload your own applications. Does that answer the question? I think I do have one here. Oops, that was too quick. Yeah, that one. This is ours. This is our own application, which is an old version. But yeah, you can upload your own company apps to iOS devices, of course. Any other questions?
Not yet. This one is confirmed, is okay.
Yeah, there's a new voice here. Una nuova voce, mi introduco, sono Riccardo Fantoni del Marketing Icos. Volevo porre una domanda che è quella che solitamente i partner chiedono in questo genere di eventi, ed è come funziona il licensing della soluzione. How the licensing of the solution works? Is it based on number of devices or whatever?
That is a very good question. It is actually based on number of devices. Let's go to our dashboard here, Pat, and then I can explain it very simple, because here we see server license. So everything I showed you today and a lot more is included. We do not license by feature. Everything is there. Also with, well, including 2 TeamViewer admin licenses with each installation. So TeamViewer admin licenses with unlimited streams are also included. So we only, as I said, license endpoint devices, and we differ between clients and mobiles. So what is the difference? It's not the hardware, it is the operating system. A client is a Windows or macOS based device. So this is Windows, Windows Server, macOS or macOS devices, and mobiles is iOS and Android based devices. So that's the only difference. And then the number, just the number counts. Make sense?
Okay.
Thank you. There's another question, I guess.
Yes.
Is when you are planning to add Linux client support?
John, on your list. We do not have it on the roadmap at the moment, but that's why I mentioned my colleague John, because we get more and more these questions, and as more we get these questions, so we more likely put it on the roadmap one day, but the honest answer is not today. Other questions?
There's the curiosity from myself. When you talked about the self-healing yes. Actually detects when something is happening on files on a client. It's not its primary function, but could it be used as an alert for something that is something weird that is happening on a client? For example, a ransomware that is encrypting your files. I know that it's not designed for that, but could it help?
Well, let's say it that way. The self-healing works on whatever is deployed through FileWave, like an application. And let's say it happens that something weird on the device happens, and the device constantly downloads, the original files and the original file sets. The admin will see that immediately, that there's a lot of traffic going on, and way too much traffic going on. So you will definitely see that and mention that. And well, the admin will notice that there's something terribly wrong on this device, right? And then we'll get in touch with the device. Yes, so it's not, as you said, it's not designed for that. You should not use it for that. But again, if something like that happens on a device, the administrator will definitely recognize it and will immediately get in contact with the device. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Vanessa, I don't think we don't have any more questions. So
maybe last thing I would like to mention is through the web admin, we provide another dashboard which is completely designable and configurable for you. It's a Grafana-based dashboard. So the first one looks pretty similar to that one, sure. But you also have your associations here. You can see here. You have your booster here, which is not connected yet, but that's fine. And you can create your own dashboards, your own playlists, your own user. So this is a very, very powerful tool. If somebody is used to work with Grafana, you definitely love that one. And here you do have the possibility to set multiple kind of alerts, because everything what Grafana supports you can use here, like sending messages to Slack or to MS Teams or whatever you use in your environment. And last but not least, what I like to mention is this web admin you can use here. This is completely what you see. Every click I do here, this is completely API driven. We have a monster API, and we documented it. So my server is this is the full qualified domain name of my server. So when I use that one, and I say /API/doc, I come into our Swagger. So this is for, you know, for the techie guys, right? So we have Swagger here and a complete documented API, including, yeah, let's do a test. You can try it out before running it on your whole environment. So this is also very, very powerful tool, especially for yeah, the bigger environments. You have to, you know, run things automatically or bulky. So again, Grafana and our API, very, very comfortable, very well used in bigger environments, and very powerful. I'm done. Finally.
Benissimo, quindi non ci sono altre domande. Ringraziamo tutti quanti per la partecipazione. Vi verrà inviata tra qualche giorno la registrazione del webinar nel caso voleste rivederlo, e se vi vengono in mente altre domande non esitate a contattare me lato ICOS oppure Andreas lato FileWave, oppure ci occuperemo noi di fare da tramite. Vi ringraziamo per la partecipazione, grazie Andreas per la spiegazione e buona giornata e buon lavoro a tutti.
Same from our side. Thank you very much for participating today, for your time, for your interest, and have a very nice day.